do you finally say no? The other person becomes quiet. And even though you know your decision was reasonable, your body reacts as if you have done something cruel. Your chest tightens. You replay the conversation. You imagine how disappointed they must feel. Then the urge appears. Maybe I should explain myself again. Maybe I should change my answer. Maybe their comfort matters more than my limit. This is why setting a boundary can feel harder than continuing to suffer. The boundary may protect you, but the guilt punishes you for creating it. People often assume guilt means they have done something wrong. Sometimes it does. If you intentionally hurt someone, break a promise, or act against your values, guilt can help you repair the damage. But not every guilty feeling is evidence of wrongdoing. Sometimes guilt is simply the emotional price of doing something unfamiliar. If you grew up believing that love depended on being obedient, helpful, or easy to manage, saying no may feel dangerous. Maybe people became cold when you disagreed. Maybe they called you selfish when you had needs. Maybe you were praised for being the child who never caused trouble. You learned that peace depended on your cooperation. So you became skilled at noticing what everybody else wanted. You adjusted your schedule. You softened your opinions. You accepted responsibilities before anyone even asked. And when somebody became disappointed, you treated their disappointment like an emergency. That pattern may have protected connection, but it also taught you something painful. If another person is unhappy with me, I must have done something wrong. A boundary challenges that belief. It says another person can be disappointed, and you can still be a good person. They can disagree with you, and you do not have to collapse. They can want more access to your time, energy, or body than you are willing to give. Their desire does not automatically become your obligation. That distinction sounds simple. Emotionally, it may feel enormous, because when you set a boundary, you are not only dealing with the present request, you may also be confronting every earlier moment when refusal led to anger, silence, shame, or rejection. The person in front of you may only be asking for a favor, but your nervous system may remember a time when saying no threatened the relationship. So you overexplain. You produce a complete defense for a simple limit. You provide evidence. You apologize before and after the answer. You try to make the boundary so gentle that the other person cannot possibly feel disappointed. But a boundary cannot guarantee that nobody will feel uncomfortable. It only clarifies what you are willing and unwilling to do. This is where people pleasers often become trapped. They believe a boundary is only valid if the other person understands it, agrees with it, and remains happy. But if somebody must approve your boundary before you are allowed to have it, it is not really a boundary. It is a request for permission. And people who benefited from your lack of boundaries may not respond warmly when you begin creating them. They may say you have changed. They may accuse you of becoming distant. They may remind you of everything they have done for you. They may treat your limit as a personal rejection. That reaction can activate guilt immediately, but another person's reaction does not automatically determine whether your boundary is healthy. Sometimes their discomfort simply means the relationship is being asked to become more balanced. A person who is used to receiving unlimited access may experience equality as deprivation. That does not mean equality is unfair. There is also a difference between a boundary and punishment. A boundary says, if this continues, I will step away from the situation. Punishment says, I will hurt or control you until you behave the way I want. A boundary explains what you will do to protect your well-being. It does not exist to force somebody else to change. For example, a boundary is not, you are not allowed to raise your voice. You cannot fully control what another person does. A clearer boundary is, if the conversation becomes disrespectful, I will end it and return when we are both calmer. Now the focus is on your action. That matters because boundaries are not walls built to avoid every difficult emotion. They are doors with conditions for healthy access. Some doors remain open. Some need to close temporarily. and some relationships repeatedly prove that they are unsafe to reopen. You are allowed to notice the difference. But before setting a boundary, ask yourself what you are protecting: your time, your emotional energy, your physical safety, your privacy, your ability to remain respectful instead of building resentment. Clear boundaries are easier to maintain when they are connected to a real value. Then communicate them simply. You do not need a courtroom speech. You do not need to prove that you are tired enough, hurt enough, or busy enough. A complete sentence can be, I cannot do that today. I am not comfortable discussing this. I need time before I respond. If the insults continue, I will leave. The words may be short. The emotions afterward may not be. Guilt may still arrive. Let it arrive without immediately obeying it. A feeling can be present without becoming an instruction. You can feel guilty and keep the boundary. You can care about someone and disappoint them. You can understand their feelings without taking responsibility for fixing all of them. At first, your body may interpret boundaries as danger, but every time you set a reasonable limit and survive the discomfort, your nervous system learns something new. Disagreement does not always mean abandonment. Disappointment does not always mean rejection. Saying no does not make you cruel. Sometimes it prevents hidden anger from poisoning the relationship. Sometimes it allows your yes to become honest again. Because a yes given through fear is not generosity. It is self-protection disguised as kindness. The goal is not to stop caring how your actions affect people. The goal is to stop treating every uncomfortable reaction as proof that you have failed them. You are responsible for communicating your boundary respectfully. You are not responsible for making sure nobody has feelings about it. The guilt may speak in the voice of the person you used to be. Keep everyone happy, or you will lose them. But you no longer have to purchase connection by abandoning yourself. A healthy relationship can survive your limits. And a relationship that only survives when you have none was never asking for love. It was asking for access.